Hello, guys. I'm Charlotte Blu, a part of the CEI organization, and here we have two amazing guests. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
My name's Andre Kozowowski. I'm a concert pianist and the owner of Sound Conservatory in Moline.
Hi, I'm Jera Williams. I'm one of the producers at New Waves. Music production company.
Okay, love that. All right, so let's get into it. My first question of the day.
Okay.
There's only one right answer, really. Yeah, what did you guys think of the Super Bowl halftime show?
I liked it. It was nice to see something that wasn't just about the music, but there was a message behind it, and it helped you kind of see where people stood and how quick people were to judge it before really thinking about what it was about. And I like that about. And last time I listened to Kendrick Lamar was when his first album came out, and I didn't like it. I did not like it. Nope, wasn't a fan. But then this made me listen to his most recent album. I'm like, yeah. It really liked the sound of it. And
A lot of symbolism in it, too.
sadly, I'm a Jets fan, so for me, that Super Bowl wasn't really that special.
You had no dog in that fight.
I never do. When do the Jets ever get to the Super Bowl? Yeah, so that's how I felt about it.
I loved the whole. It was like a movie. It wasn't even.
It
wasn't even like.
No.
Like I'm a big movie person. It wasn't even a halftime show. I felt like I was watching an episode or like a series for like 15 minutes. I was like, whoa.
I could see that. It's kind of like, back in the day, Michael Jackson, he had his music videos, and then he had those short movies for some of, like the Thriller short film, what is it? Smooth Criminal. Oh, I love that one with Joe Pesci in it.
Yeah, is Annie actually okay? We still never figured that out.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah. Never. Child services was never called. Those were the 90s. But
Well, I saw a lot of people. So there was a lot of people saying like, "Oh, boomers who watched it, they didn't really get the Super Bowl halftime show." They were like, "What is he saying?" And I saw someone who made a post about it. She was like, "I don't know what this is. Like, this is the worst Super Bowl halftime show." And then she came back later on, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't know it was a message. I'm sorry, y'all." So it's like you really had to look at it deeper, like.
yeah, you kind of actually got to know the tea too. It's kind of like explaining like Avengers to somebody who ain't seen all the movies.
Yeah.
That's a long conversation. So like she probably had to like go back, see what really happened,
Right.
and then like see what's currently happening. Like,
But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of culture we live nowadays. People are very quick to judge something before actually taking the time to understand. And, we're going to be talking about this. I hope that in music we are dealing with that we want that instant gratification in what we hear instead of music that makes you think and it makes you listen to it over and over again to understand it. We want that instant gratification. And I think that's what was the challenge of that halftime show is people weren't expecting to have to think about what they're listening to. They just wanted entertainment.
they want entertainment.
Yeah, and it was more than entertainment happening there.
Yeah, like I think of like music in two ways: building a house and making a baby. Like honestly, some people just want to like bang, call it what it is, and then making the baby comes out of that. Yeah, cool. But then like when you like actually meet the person, do all that stuff, you're actually creating something crazy. Same with building a house. Some people like throw some sticks together, boom, boom, boom.
There's a lot of moving pieces.
A lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just want instant gratification. Just
Yeah. And with that being said, like, I know like the industry has changed a lot.
oh,
Like it's been crazy like to see the entertainment industry. Yeah, I'm just curious to know like what are your guys' thoughts on how the industry has changed and how have you guys like adapted with it?
well, from my standpoint, like how I grew up was very analog. So like I didn't really understand how recording really worked until I actually met my team, like Gus and Antoine, and went to college because I was very analog. Oh, I write it out, play it out. Um, until I started like getting behind the scenes and really like how different recording techniques and working in a team, music went from like being like a fun thing for me to like being really businessy. And I think what happened to me more so was like it's a fast paced thing. Like music now to me is not even about music, it's about how quick you grab somebody's attention.
Yeah.
Like, if that makes any sense at all. It's like
Yeah.
you don't really have to be good, but are you marketable?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's you the last thing you just said, that marketable. Music nowadays isn't about sparking an interest in people, or like what I was saying before about making people think. And how do these pop stars come to fame? Is it organic? Is it because people are excited to listen to this music and they're talking to their friends about it and they become popular? Or are we being told, hey, this is the next star, listen to them. They're planted everywhere. Yeah, and it's to me that's the concern I have. Being a classical pianist, my craft is about the art of the music, sitting there and learning a piece of music for several months and finding out the meaning of the music and how you as an artist relate to that and can find your interpretation and meaning behind it. And you have to figure out a way to convey that to the audience and hope that the audience is open to interpretation and not just there to be entertained. And music has now become a form of entertainment, and not a form of self-expression and a form of exploring the human emotions and the human condition, or however you want to put it.
Yeah.
Because reality is, you listen to most of these lyrics nowadays. What is their depth-wise? We don't listen to the music for its lyric meaning anymore. We want to feel good. We want a good beat. We want the sound to catch us, and that's why the industry has moved heavily towards algorithm-written music. They study what is popular about these songs and what commonalities they have in that, and then if they fabricate styles based on that. And music isn't, or mainstream music isn't organic music that is written by composers and then people like it. They produce music to make sure it sells.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not an art of music, it's an art of production.
Yeah, for like now, in my opinion, it's the age of the producer now. Like it used to be years ago. It was the artist. Everybody wanted to be the artist. And I think now, like what you just said with production, you are the star, basically.
Yeah.
And
you don't get the acknowledgement.
You don't get the acknowledgement, but you get a lot of like FaceTime now as a producer, I feel like now. But when it comes to the art of it, I feel like there are very few people who just like it for what it is. I think people want to do it because it looks cool. In my opinion, from what I've seen, I know I'm old now, but like watching TikTok and Instagram, a lot of that, there are a lot of talented people. But sometimes when I go look them up, they don't really have any work. They just do clips. Like nobody's really finishing anything a lot.
Trying to hop on the new wave.
It's the ultimate 15 minutes of fame for everyone.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm just going to make clips of me singing a riff, and that's it. Yeah. But they don't all from what I've seen, some of them, they don't like to dig in deep, let's finish the product. They're that's a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of back to what you said about music right now and how it really is starting to become more secular in a way. It's all kind of starting to sound the same.
It's homogenized big time.
Yeah. It's scary to think about the technology we have right now, AI and all that. It's I'm scared that there's just going to be a point in time where everything's just going to sound the exact same.
It does already.
It's going to be unique.
I think when it comes to technology, as somebody who works in technology, at the end of the day, you still have to know how to use those tools. Like AI and all that, that's great up for face value to get an idea, especially when it comes to sound design and synthesis for me. I don't necessarily use it all the time, but I might hear something like, huh, how was it built? And I might build it in a certain way that fits for me. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to true, like, musicians and true producers. Like, I think what's different now is a lot of that stuff is accessible. So everybody has those tools, but not everybody has the mindset.
Yeah.
Well, what changes everything.
You know, going back to the point of how, you know, music is starting to sound the same. Honestly, if you take pretty much any pop artist right now and you remove the vocals, and you, let's say it's a song you don't even know whose music it is. If let's say Taylor Swift, you know, the biggest pop star right now in the world, if she released a new song and she wasn't singing in it, would you be able to recognize that it's her music? Would you be able to recognize it's her or someone else? No, that is gone. You know, I grew up in the
lyrics,
90s.
Like her lyrics?
No, the music.
Just the music itself. Just
the music. Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's only four people I know who I can tell that's their track.
Yeah.
Like Bruno Mars is one, Metro Boomin. Like that's his beat.
But you look at Bruno Mars. I mean, he's borrowing stylistically from who?
Prince.
MJ.
Yeah.
So, you know, he doesn't, I love his music and I love what he's doing, but, you know, he's not creating a new sound, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, because that's another issue I have with today's music. We're constantly trying to find new sound. Why does new sound mean better music, you know?
That's a good question.
Why you look at the composer I specialize at the piano is Chopin. Frédéric Chopin, to me, the greatest composer to have ever lived for piano. People 200 years later are still listening to his music and are emotionally affected by it. And there are people who write in that style till this day, and the music has an impact. You know, and we stopped searching for that. Because music nowadays is disposable. Song is out for 3 months, people forget it existed.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. There is a lot
It's disposable music, and that's why we're able to recycle so much music and borrow things from old songs, because people will forget and they just reuse stuff. But you know, the whole aspect of what is Taylor Swift's voice compared to another pop artist? How does it differ musically? Because from the musician standpoint, it's the same chord progressions. Yeah. There's nothing unique about it. There's nothing different about the music other than they may use a different synth sound or use a different produced atmospheric reverb or whatever it is. And then what really makes them distinguishable is, oh, well, I know that's Taylor Swift's voice. Yeah. Oh, I know this is another person singing. That's the only thing that nowadays separates one artist from another is their voice. You know, I grew up in the 90s when it comes to music, and, you know, I grew up to Nirvana, Korn. I was a huge Korn fan. And several other bands. But when you listen to a Korn song, even if it's not one that you've heard before, and you take away the lyrics, you can tell that it's Korn by the sound.
But they have a very
you listen
sound.
to, you know, when you listen to Linkin Park, you knew that was Linkin Park by the sound of the music, the way they wrote music, the instrumentation, and that element is lost in music nowadays, and that comes down to money.
Yeah, money.
Because what is every record label interested in? Sell these albums, make money. And what you then start to doing is, it's like being an investor. Are you going to invest in random things that you don't know about if they're going to be successful, or do you invest in what is successful?
What is successful?
So, same thing with music. Hey, this sound sells. We need to make music like this. And then this aspect of music sells. So everyone starts doing it, and it becomes homogenized.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that's true with some. Like, my favorite artist right now is probably Chaperone. I love her stuff. It's very,
I like her.
because I feel like she pushed boundaries within sonically. I mean, she was bringing out sounds that a lot of people weren't.
Well, how mainstream is it?
Now it's mainstream, but I knew
It's mainstream.
Chopper before it was
Yeah,
way
she came up.
before she came up.
Give it a couple years and let's see what happens. You know, what's a great example of an artist that was like that? Sia.
Sia,
Back
she's
in
known
the
as a
day,
writer.
Sia.
She was known as
And then she sold out, and she's become just generic like everything else at this point. And that's what I'm worried about. That happens to these artists who do come up with a unique voice. They then get stripped of that unique voice by the industry and become like everything else.
Wait, so what do you guys think about the Grammys then?
what she said about.
I don't watch the Grammys.
Oh, I watched some of it. I think it was cool in a way what she said about like how the industry
Yeah.
should, and I kind of agree. It's kind of like
You're gonna have to fill me in.
so like basically she said like she wants to see like artists get like health insurance and be taken care of, even if they're at the lower part of the industry, because when she got let go, she had no experience and no other skills to be marketable in the true working world. And honestly, I can relate to that because I was one of those. I never got signed, but just like being a working musician, you just swimming with nowhere to go. You're just like,
Well, that's a big problem also in the music education world. You know, colleges and conservatories, many of them, and it's starting to change from what I'm being told. You know, I went to school back in the early 2000s for music. You go to learn and master your craft, but you don't learn the business aspect. How do you market yourself? How do you manage yourself? You know, you don't learn any of those aspects, and it's it's tough. And then especially with people who get signed with a label early on, you know, they're kind of now relying on that entity to take care of all of that. And I think that's an important aspect that as an artist you need to tap into. Get into the scenes of what is going on that is getting all this accomplished, so you understand what to do if you ever want to go out on your own and do your own thing. Learn the industry from inside out.
I had to take some hard knocks with that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like it's like an anime character. I'll just get teleport, slam.
Well, I can speak on that too. Like, I've learned so much, like, coming from, you know, doing The Voice and seeing how that show is set up and the contracts and all the work that goes into doing those shows. It's like me seeing that and like being so close to like, oh, this is what I want to do. And then, you know, after it was all said and done, I'm like, this is so different than what I thought it would be. Like, you know, when you get to a certain point of like, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to be in front of the cameras, like, and like to be there just felt so surreal, but like overwhelming at the same time. It's like, I don't know.
I feel sanitized. Like that's like you feel sanitized.
Do you feel that it kind of stripped you away from being a musician and made you feel like you were just a business?
I think it did. I think it definitely made me overthink a lot of things. And, you know, especially me being 17 at the time, I was really young. So, you know, I really had no idea about like what kind of artist I was. Like I really had no real training except for just being a musician and playing with other musicians. And I think that's what helped me on the show. But everything else was like, I don't know how to do interviews. I don't know PR, like none of that. So all that like was a learning experience for me.
Yeah, I can agree with you because like I came up a lot like you, like just being a musician. I thought that would be enough, and it's not enough.
It's not. There's so many
good music. Yeah, it's a lot of good musicians. Like what sets you apart, and like also style. Like you brought up, like what kind of artist are you? I had a hard time with that because I was like, well, I'm not really an art because I don't really care about being in front of people. I like writing songs. I don't really...
Well, another you mentioned you were young, you didn't really know what kind of artist you were yet, and that's another issue that I think plays into how pop music is driven, because they find these artists that oh, this is a promising musician, but usually they're so young that they don't have a defined voice in themselves, and then they strip that away from them, don't give them that opportunity to evolve where they naturally as an artist want to or need to, and then they're pushed to go in a direction. They just kind of follow a streamlined system of, this is what you're going to do and this is the kind of music you're going to do. And I think that also plays into the homogenization of music, is that we don't give these young artists the opportunity, hey, let them evolve. And we have to also let the reality happen. Hey, if this artist is evolving, but they're not connecting with an audience anymore, then we move on. And what happens is they artificially pump these artists. They tell them, hey, you got to change your look. You got to make this sound now because this sound isn't selling anymore. And then we strip that away. The artistry of these performers is stripped. And they follow it, from what I assume, is because they're too young to understand that, hey, this is not finding my own voice. I'm just being told what to do, and I'm becoming a puppet of the industry.
You kind of feel like it's like that with like prodigies too. That like,
oh yeah,
like I know a lot of like
they burn out usually.
Prodigies that like I heard like they were like wow,
and then gone.
Yeah, they hit like 18 and it's like...
Yeah, they fizzle out. That's true. Absolutely.
Like, dang, he didn't even go to the NBA yet. He didn't even go to the NBA yet. He's just like, I'm finished. Yeah. I'm finished.
And that's the thing that, unlike most industries and professions, being a musician isn't like, no offense to anyone who's, let's say, a math teacher. That's not easy. But you could literally go throughout your whole, secondary education, graduate high school, and say, you know what, I'm going to go to college and become a math teacher. You can do that. You can't do that as a musician. You can't at 18 decide, hey, I'm going to pick up an instrument and become a virtuoso at it. You have to foster that from, a certain age, with the hopes that you have talent, and then go to a school if you're pursuing, that higher education in that instrument, with the hopes that you can graduate that, and then hope that you can make a career out of it. And
that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
time and money is invested for years before you're at an age where you can put that into use.
When I was in Denver, I had a roommate when I was working at my job, and he was a great wrestler, and like a lot of the guys are great athletes, and I never really understood like the athletic world.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, you were a musician, you had options. And I was like, what you mean? But in the same token, in a way, I kind of see what they mean in a weird way, because in sports, they're only taking that little percent. Like if you don't make the draft, you hope you can go to Europe and maybe make it. At least as a musician, we still have like
different tiers. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's either the major leagues in sports or minor leagues or nothing else. You don't have your local, downtown Moline football team that plays and you get paid. No, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't work that way.
While musician, you can have bar gigs and all kinds of things.
Yeah, but we still run that same race with them psychologically. It's like, well, if I don't make it at the higher level, especially that pay grade, well, yeah, I have this, but it doesn't still pay the same as...
And I guess I have a question to go on to that. Like, how do you guys navigate, like, the professional side of things? Like, being a musician, with your professions and stuff like that. Like, how do you guys, like, navigate all that?
That's a good question. You go
sure.
first.
Well, I'll start off with this. I have ADHD, so
Me too.
it has its benefits and obviously its struggles. Being a business owner, our business is involved in a lot. We have a piano moving company. We sell pianos. We sell instruments. We the largest music academy in the region. We have concerts, and I oversee and manage all aspects of it. And I don't think I could do that if I didn't have ADHD personally, because it's I'm one of these people. I can't do something from 9 to 5 and just repeatedly. I get bored. I lose interest in it, and I found that with running this business, it allows me to stay motivated through a very strange form of discipline, and that's the discipline of doing a little bit of everything throughout the day, so that way I can make progress in all aspects and keep my motivation. Because I'm one of these people with ADHD. I'll be motivated to do something one day, and then the next day I don't want to bother with it. So, what we have to understand ourselves psychologically, how we work, and not force ourselves down a path that a cookie cutter path. That the key to success is sit and do this for hours and do it until you get better. For some people that works, and for some people, hey, a little bit of this, and then I need to do something totally unrelated and get that accomplished, and then when I kind of lose that drive, go do something else that I'm driven to do. And at the end of the day, anything I need to get accomplished, I'll get it accomplished, because I can keep myself motivated. Because that's the biggest thing we need to acknowledge, that motivation is not enough, because motivation does this throughout the day and from day to day, and discipline is what takes us on the days that I really want to practice, and you do it, and then on the days that you go, I don't even want to play this instrument anymore, and you still practice and you still do it. So
passion helps too.
yeah, and you need to foster that passion, because passion can turn into a chore if it's not properly balanced in your life, knowing exactly what your daily limitations for something are, and knowing when during the day something is going to work for you. And that's been my biggest discovery in working towards success, is knowing what my strong suits are and what my weaknesses are, and redirecting those weaknesses to align with what needs to be done for success.
Yeah, I found myself getting burnout, like as a full-time student, and doing gigs on the side. It's like sometimes there's just no time, and then you end up just feeling exhausted. And like there are times, like you said, like where it's like I don't even want to pick up this instrument anymore. Like I physically and mentally just can't.
You ain't got it.
And it's hard to like find that just time management and self-care.
Yeah.
That is the hardest one. Like for business and music with me, I had to draw a line, because as much as I love doing music, the up and down of everything, even if you are like disciplined, your bills don't care about being disciplined.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like what you said about like having like learning disabilities and things like that. I need multiple parts of stimulation. But like who I am, I'm a mastery guy. So I had to take skills that I already knew and applied it to something completely different, but also repetitious. So like I got into IT and cable because it was very similar, like on the background, like of production. Very similar. So to be inspired to stay in music, it kind of helped me with time management being in IT, if that makes any sense. Because I was still working my skills and working on time management, especially when it comes to like finishing songs, because I'll sit on the egg for a minute. I'll just be like, literally, yeah, it's hard. So for me, when it came to business, knowing my limitations, like, hey, I am not a manager, virtual, so like I produce, I know a little bit. I rely on a team. Like, I'm a team. I'm the San Antonio Spurs. I play this.
And that's the most important thing in the music world is we have to understand what our limitations are and how they align with our passion.
Yes, we don't talk about that enough. I
No.
feel, and I think everybody now says you could do anything you want to do. That is true to an extent. There's
Yeah.
the reality of like,
Yeah.
if you're not good at math, are you going to be an accountant? I don't know.
Well, I do my bookkeeping. I'm not good at math. Don't audit me.
Well,
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
there's a swinging pendulum.
Yeah, no.
But I have not having Bernie Madoff or something like.
But yeah, and the problem that happens is, we do live in a culture where we're told that if you want something, you can have it. And to me, that's a great dream, but that's what it really is. And it's a very selfish way of thinking because,
Yes.
and arrogant, because we're not good at everything. And just because we like something, I love the cello. Like, I would love to play the cello. I tried it for 2 years. Oh, man. That was terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Day one sounded the same 2 years later. I was not good at it, and you have to acknowledge that. And it's okay to acknowledge if you're not good at something, because if you don't, you're literally closing the doors on learning something new about yourself, because you're also closing the door on other experiences because you're too set on, I'm going to accomplish this. And you need to know when, hey, this is about the limitation for this. And do I want to keep pushing it, or do I want to just maintain it where it is and enjoy what I can from it and keep myself open to discovering something new? Because you will never discover everything you can about yourself if you get too or hyper focused on one thing and put 100% of yourself into it. There's this that everyone says, you got to give it your all. I'm like, yes, but you also have to balance. What does that all mean? What and what cost does that all?
What cost?
Yeah, is that all gonna take you? And is the result, even if you accomplish it, worth it?
Sometimes that all takes you to your breaking point.
The new ceiling.
You can't go any further.
I feel like when it comes to certain experiences, even if you conquer it, what did you get out of it? Because, like, to me, if you do something really hard but you got nothing out of it, you kind of wasted your time.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And with music, as artists, looking at that, we have to look at, what are we doing this art for? Are we doing this because we want to tell the world something and we want people to experience something? Or are we doing this as a way to satisfy our personal emotional needs while an audience takes part in experiencing it? And pop world is it's not about the artist. It's about keeping the audience happy and entertained. For me, when I play Chopin, I don't play it because I'm looking for the, approval or trying to grow my audience because, it's popular. I get up on stage and I perform because I emotionally want to escape into the music. And if people are there to experience it with me, great. And that's another important thing we need to explore as artists, is what is our purpose? Is our experience in art a personal thing? Is it for others? Or what's the balance between the two?
I feel like being a musician is like selfish all around, because you only you attract kind of what you play, in my opinion.
That is true.
Like, kind of like what you said, like a lot of the people I liked growing up, like the producers I loved, were like Zed, Calvin Harris.
Oh, Zed. Calvin Harris?
Calvin Harris is one, but Zed, because of the way he did orchestrations, like piano and stuff, he moved.
What about Gareth Emery?
Gareth Emery is another one. Gareth Emery,
my favorite.
One of my favorites. Daft Punk. I got trapped in how they create, like it was like a movie. It was cinematic, how they would move things. And a lot of people were just to like a pop hit, but I was like, yo, this is...
There's so many more elements.
So many, it's like the ocean. It's like, oh, this level, oh dang, ain't no sun down here. But a lot of people don't really get into that part, so you're kind of on an island by yourself most of the time.
Well, like most people listen to music nowadays, not because they're trying to explore anything. They want to feel good. They want to
feel good.
Yeah, they want to be entertained, and I think we need to find a balance with that
You ever
in
heard
our
yourself
world.
listen to music? I was in the gym and I heard this like I was doing a bench press. I heard this crazy like transition to EDM song. I was like, oh snap! I was like, oh.
So no, trap music for lifting. Trap music is.
Oh yeah, something about pushing dope just gets you pushing weight. No lie. Like wake up in the morning, be like, no.
You ever listen to Troy Boy?
Yeah.
Tom Size, that stuff, or Tom Size, Simon, those guys. Oh man, lifting to that can be dangerous.
Yeah, Mexican OT. I'd be like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like Young Dolph. I used to listen to Young Dolph like every morning when I go to work. 100 shots. I'd be like.
It's funny.
You know, inspiration is inspiration. I feel like a lot of people cut themselves off to certain things.
And that's the thing about the beauty about the music world is there's music for all kinds of purposes. And
you know, waste out that sometimes.
Yeah, right. This one's to bench press. This one's for running in the mountains. But yeah, and that's the amazing thing about music is it serves so many purposes. So
you ever like listen to a song and like you like instantly in the movie in your own head like.
I have so many playlists. Like it's just for different like scenarios.
Have you ever listened to those playlists over though? Because I make playlists like, oh yeah, this is a great mix. I'm feeling great with this. Never come back to it.
Yeah, that's true.
I have came back to it, and I've actually taken some songs out of my Spotify. I'm like, yo, what was I on when I did this? You ever like have that though?
Yeah.
Like, yo,
I listened to this whole thing like all the way through.
Yeah.
What? It is like the song you be skipping be actually fire. You ever like how like you come back?
Well, because you judge it after the first 10 seconds, like, So I always skip through to like 30 seconds. All right, how about 45 seconds? All right, a minute. Okay, all right, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, I gotta get used to like taking a ride, but like I've skipped on some good songs.
Kind of more open-minded though. Like I'm like, okay, I'll give it a few more.
What are you listening to right now? Like, what's new to you right now?
Right now, I'm listening to a bunch of different stuff right now. I've been listening to SZA. SZA, is that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has a new album out right now. So I've been listening to her. And then a lot of other ones like Kendrick. I love Kendrick. That's what G.
Like, yo, his stuff is a movie. Like, if Training Day was like do a part 2, it had to be like Kendrick doing the score. Real time.
Exactly. as an artist, I try to keep myself very open-minded, and it helps me in my art too, to be creative, to hear different things. I don't like to stick to one genre.
Me neither. I can't be a one genre guy.
No.
Yeah, I don't. To me, people who listen to just one genre of music,
they scare me.
They're suspicious. They're suspicious because I remember growing up, I was like, I only listen to punk rock. I'm like, so you telling me if you heard music from any other genre, you'd be like, nah, you don't like it? I don't know. That's suspicious to me.
Those guys are robbing you.
Same too.
Yeah. Then I had a friend, a very close friend of mine, who didn't like music at all. They didn't listen to it. I'm like,
yeah, he killed a couple people.
Do you have no
right?
He's killed a couple people.
Or he's a spy or something. I don't know.
I don't listen to music.
Yeah. But
he probably sings opera. He gets those like
this whole construct of genres really is it's if you
racist.
Well, yeah, interesting way to put it, but I'm not gonna say no.
It's Jim Crow with music.
But if you really think about it, it's what is music? It's rhythm, harmonization, melodic line, and potentially lyrics. And when you listen to someone like, I don't know if you ever heard of Irish blues rock. Oh, I didn't even say his name.
Oh, there's like the genre.
No, but Mick Flannery. Oh, you would love Mick Flannery. With your music, you would absolutely love his stuff. You listen to him. He's got keys, he's got guitar, bass, drums, and him on vocals. And then you take, let's say older One Republic before they went all electronic. It's the same instrumentation, the same notation system, same chord progressions, so, and yeah, there's a slightly different sound to the music, but in essence, it's all universal. And, so to me, the when people say, oh, I don't listen to rock, I only listen to, let's say jazz. I'm like, okay.
Hot take on jazz.
What's that?
Jazz to me,
jazz.
I love jazz too.
Careful, I'll fight you.
I feel like jazz, because I actually came up on jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Like my favorite composers are like Horace Silver, George Duke, like crazy, Lee Morgan, the list goes on and on. But like sometimes I feel like it can be very elitist. The jazz can be very like the sound, like it can be. Sometimes they don't push new ideas. Sometimes.
Well, I mean, 'cause jazz is a very, very broad, generalization of her style of music. It's like classical. Classical music. Bach is considered classical music, and then you have Chopin, and then you have Stravinsky.
That's crazy.
You listen to Stravinsky and then play Bach, it's like a whole different universe, but they're under the classical umbrella, while, Bach is actually Baroque era, Chopin is Romantic era, Stravinsky's 20th century. So same thing with jazz. I mean, jazz has so many subcategories.
You get lost in the subcategory.
Yeah.
Like me, I like a lot of anime openings and a lot of electronic music, and like that's a lot of jazz now in a way. Like it's like metal.
Yeah.
It's like metal house music over like screaming saxophones running around. Like literally, like that's what I picture. Like sword, bang.
Yeah.
Skydive in a pool, bang.
Yeah, because I mean,
Bass drop.
Dave Brubeck, right?
Yes.
By the way, we just acquired a Mason and Hamlin 9-foot concert grand that is autographed by Dave Brubeck at Sound Conservatory. Yeah, and there's video on YouTube of him performing on that piano at the 1971 Newport Jazz Festival. We have that piano as our concert piano now. So anyway,
It's gonna be televised.
So you listen to Dave. You listen. You're right. Good luck moving 1,700-pound piano, but down a flight of stairs. But you've got Dave Brubeck, and then you've got someone like Tal Cohen and his trio that's coming to perform in August, in April. You compare, it's totally different sound in music. You would never think that they were part of the same genre, but they're labeled under jazz. So yeah, there are forms of jazz that have that kind of elitism, but every genre does.
Like I wonder if like rappers have elite. Well, we do.
Yeah.
Drake and Kendrick is like,
or Kanye thinks he's the God's gift to earth.
Kanye thinks he's two gods.
That's a whole different episode. But so it that's the case with any style of music, and sometimes it's earned. Most of the time, it's not.
I have a question for both of y'all. If y'all could resurrect any dead musician,
Chopin,
bring them to today. You would bring Michael Jackson back today and be like, "Yo, this is what we got." How would you like explain them the new world? Like explain the new world. Like, I would love to bring back Rick James. That'd be dope. Like,
I'd start with apologizing, but I would say Chopin. I mean, it's just because he is the composer who explored and moved the concept of composing music as a form of self-expression. Chopin never wrote music for the sake of performing it. He despised performing. He gave in his entire 39-year life, 32 of that in the professional world as a pianist. He started composing music at 7. He only gave 40 performances in his entire life. Wow. And he only published out of financial necessity.
Wow.
His composing was a journal of his life, and he wrote for himself. Prior to that, music was written for what? Religious purposes, and for people who were in power, kings, emperors, people, aristocratic families. Hey, we're having 200 people over. We want to be entertained. It was entertainment and religious purposes. And he wrote music as a way of putting his emotions to sound. And he is the composer why music evolved into
Today.
what it is. I think he was really the composer that changed that direction heavily, turned the tide.
It would be crazy to hear what he would do with today's technology.
Oh.
Like if you showed him a synthesizer, what he would do with that.
Yeah. That's kind of why I want to see, you only lived 39 years, and he wrote exclusively for the piano, and he's one of the most famous composers. You have Beethoven, he wrote for every instrument. Yeah. Mozart, Bach.
Beethoven's actually one of my favorites. I think Horace Silver is like the jazz Beethoven.
Oh, interesting. So that's who I would want to bring back. And so you said MJ?
Yeah, MJ. I mean, I grew up listening to MJ, and I literally cried when he died.
I remember what it was.
I remember that so vividly. My mom had told me, she's just yeah, Michael Jackson just died. I'm sorry, and I was bawling my eyes out. I was like, there's no way, MJ.
I thought it was fake too. I thought it was fake.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't real. That was I just remember that moment so vividly because I looked up to him it was just MJ every day. I had a fixation on Michael Jackson.
So did my sisters. That was wild. That's different. But it's funny how that was one of your biggest inspirations.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you produce completely different. But that's actually the cool part about that.
Well, that's the thing as musicians we have to understand is that we can't just draw inspiration from things that are like us.
Yes.
We have to draw inspiration from things that are different than us because it makes us question ourselves.
Yes.
When we follow things that are exactly like us, we don't question anything.
We don't question.
We just keep following along while you present yourself with something that is not like you, and you start to go, well, why? Well, what is this? And then you start to relate, compare and contrast yourself to these things, and it helps you potentially discover things that you didn't know about yourself or even think, or different perspectives and ideas. So when people ask me, what do I listen to? You must listen to a lot of classical music. I'm like, I listen more to other things than classical.
If people think I'm a metal guy, I'm like,
yeah. And people, oh, you're a classical pianist, and they see I'm covered in tattoos. They're like, how? I'm like,
yep.
Don't put me in a box because that's,
Let me cook.
Yeah.
Let me cook. But no, actually, it's funny you say that. When I was in high school, I was in a little R&B group.
Really?
Yeah, I was. I was in an R&B group.
What was it called?
I think it was called Legacy or something. Yeah.
Legacy?
Yeah, it was called Legacy. It was with some of my friends. And I was doing all the piano stuff. But I actually kind of got bored. Not bored because we were making bad music, but this was during the time of Trey Songz and all. Mm-hmm. So and growing up in R&B, it was just all right, I know this. And then my friend, one of the dopest bass players I ever met, Jasmine Mayfield, I heard him playing with his band one time in the band room, and I was like, what is that? That's crazy. And I just started trying to hang out with them, playing on the piano, and I started liking metal. I didn't really understand it at first. They started getting me more acclimated into it. I didn't have the face though. I was too smiley. I was like,
that could be your thing.
I was like, dancing. Everybody's like, I'm like,
everybody's just.
I was like,
so crazy.
It's funny. You ever been in a mosh pit?
Yes, and then I was like, all right, that's enough. I was like,
I got caught in one at 12.
You got caught
Mind
in one at
you,
12?
up until almost the end of 9th grade, I was under 5 feet tall and scrawny. So here I am at 12 years old at a Korn and Rammstein concert.
I like Rammstein.
And somehow I got sucked into a mosh pit.
He's like a
I got-
vacuum,
I got beat up like.
a curve stomped you. It's like,
I got punched, kicked, and thrown everywhere, and eventually I got out. But I was like, so there's my cousin. I'm like, oh, what happened?
dang, that's like a movie. I was just picturing you just getting like,
I don't know what was happening because I was getting crushed. It was just people on.
picture that scene out of Blade, like in the first one.
Oh,
the vampire raid.
Oh
They
yeah,
kinda like,
the nightclub.
yeah.
By the way, that track is my favorite.
I was
Oh, I
trying to
freaking
like-
love that.
I think vampires are like all techno people though, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You listen to some old classical music too. You ever seen an Interview with the Vampire?
It was one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
It's
all
dope
techno
stuff.
there.
But like, you gave him a synthesizer, he will make a track. He's gonna make a crazy track.
That's funny.
One of my Interview with a Vampire is one of my favorite movies, though. Like, I think for me, what inspires me is cinema. For like,
Visual.
yes, like you just can't put me in piano and be like make a song. I'm like,
So
I
you,
could do it. But we watching the movie, I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
so you like program music. So the concept of writing music as, portraying characters, portraying landscape, telling stories.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like. I would love to be a score writer, like write for a
I
series
could
or games. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I
Same
would.
here, actually. I want to
Yes.
compose for film. I would love to.
Slept on soundtrack. If y'all a fighter, are y'all into fighting games? Dead or Alive 3 soundtrack. Crazy. Like, yes. Like, I was like, that actually inspired me to do more game music. Was that and Street Fighter? You know I'm a Mortal Kombat fan, but like Street Fighter, the Street Fighter like theme, Ken's theme.
I can't remember it.
Do, 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 do.
I'm gonna have to on my drive back. I'm gonna be like, all right, what is this?
Yeah, I was like, dang. And like from that standpoint, like yeah, writing lyrics to a song was cool, but like making those lyrics fit something was like, yes. Yeah.
See, that's my weakness. I can't write lyrics or vocal lines, but I can come up with piano music, anything.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Disney, great work. Let it go.
Disney? Yeah.
Yeah, Disney soundtracks
Oh,
are Snow
Let It
White
Go?
is yeah.
Bro, Let It Go, like, when did it come out? It came out like
2000,
2013?
I think 2012.
2012.
I think it was 2012, if I'm not
no,
mistaken.
it's 2012.
But Coco is probably one of my favorite soundtracks.
So you guys
That-
were like 5 then?
What? Snow White is probably one of my favorite
That's a
soundtracks.
good song.
Hi ho, yes, oh, da, 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 da. It's like a trap song, but happy. You
can hear the beat in there. 808s. Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, Wishing Well. I played that in the solo once.
You did? Did anybody like recognize it?
Some people, they was like, wait, did you just play Snow White Wishing Well? I was like, da, 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 da. Yeah. Like
That's funny.
movies. Movies, kids. I had to look at the camera like,
Pretty kids are
Not drugs, movies.
be careful with movies because they might make you do drugs. But but we don't talk about that.
We're gonna edit that out. No, just kidding. But
I feel like I'm on Ricky Lake right now.
Ricky Lake, wow,
I'm on Ricky Lake right now.
that's bringing back old school. Holy
Well, let's segue into the business side of things.
Oh, my credit score. Yeah.
We're in America. No one's credit scores good.
I can't even get some bread, yo. Like,
But Kinda going off
Skittles, like
you and the Sound Conservatory, how is business going there? Like, how have you run across any issues or problems, especially being like local? Like, how does that work out for you?
Honestly, the business has been growing way faster than I could have ever imagined.
Did you?
We opened up this March 1st will be our 3-year anniversary. And we started out, I opened the business as a,
Oh, okay.
thank you.
Can we clap?
I opened up as a music academy in downtown Rock Island in this little 2,300 square foot place. And it was 5 teaching studios and just a tiny area that was like basically half of this room for retail space, just for like music books that the teachers needed, guitar picks and basic strings. And within 4 months, we were just completely packed with students. And I'm like, we need to grow. So we moved, and we've now moved into our 3rd building. Our last building had structural issues. We've got close to 380 students, and the demand for lessons here in the Quad Cities, it's huge. We get 5+ calls and emails every day. Hey, looking for information about lessons for this and that. So, the only thing I can take credit on that is that I market us really well, and we've got an incredible faculty of teachers. They are the ones that make us really successful in that aspect. I'm very picky about who comes on board to teach their education and background in music. The retail side, is always the tougher side. Because with Amazon and all these places online, you can get this stuff so cheap. It's barely, marked up from wholesale cost. So if I order something, from my distributor, I'm basically selling it for just a little bit over what the wholesale cost is. So that aspect of the business is tough because it's not something that you can do exclusively and support a large business. Pianos, same thing. 1 month we'll sell 7 pianos, 1 month we'll sell 1. And it fluctuates all over the place. And then we've got the piano moving division, which is great. Some months we'll move 60 pianos, some months we'll move 15 pianos for customers. And then the concerts. For me, I had to learn that we need to have a balance of it all in order to make this kind of business work. Not one entity is responsible for the success of the business. It's the collaboration of them all, and they work together. We have, I'd say, nearly 200 of our students are piano students. So, hey, I want to get my kid. Claire is an incredible piano player and teacher. She's got like 45 students.
She is literally. I learned from her a lot of some stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. And so these people come on board to take lessons. Oh, do you have a piano? No. So, we have that facility to get them a piano or a keyboard. And then for guitar, we sell guitars. So all aspects of the business feed off of each other. And that's what I realized after we had to move from our first location. If this business is really going to be successful, we need to embrace all angles of this business and create a home for it all.
You basically had to repot a plant.
Yeah, and get different species of plants planted at the same time too, because it's we literally do all aspects. We do have what? Did somebody sneak him a joint or something? I'm just kidding. We are working on future plans on building a recording studio. And we're talking about world-class studio. We have an attic that is humongous that could suit. It's about 3,000 square feet of functional space that could be turned into a recording studio.
Let's look at the camera and say that.
Recording studio coming to you at Sound Conservatory. But
back at the
so and that's crucial because you have students who want to record something for an audition, or because they want to be an artist, they want to record. So it all plays into itself. Every little thing, may only produce financially peanuts, but I have this old saying. I used to be in sales management for years. Enough peanuts makes peanut butter, and that's how this business runs. Each division, gathers some peanuts, and together I can make
George
peanut butter.
Washington Carver.
There you go. Yeah, appropriate for this month.
Yep.
So.
I had to do a service announcement. PBS kids.
But yeah, so summarize, business is going well. It's thanks to the phenomenal teachers we have and the way we have the business model set up, and marketing. Everything is marketing. So yeah.
See, I'm just now starting to get the hang of the business side of things, and it's been hard. It's been a little hard. I do have a team, so that helps me a lot, because if it weren't for them, I don't know, I would not be getting paid what I get paid right now. So it helps to have a team of people, especially when you're starting out and figuring out how the money side of things works. And sometimes there's businesses that take advantage of artists.
Oh,
especially
sometimes.
Sometimes.
There is that, and it's I think having the Sound Conservatory and what you're doing with the kids and young musicians coming up, I think that's great, and I'd like to hear more about what you're doing.
Well, we have that concert series called Future Tones. The whole concept behind that is, giving young artists, high school age to early college age, an opportunity to perform in a professional venue that's not necessarily a bar, because, we need to create more of a culture for concert venues. In the Quad Cities. I think there's too much of the bar performance scene, and that, I think, going off on a tangent with that, is most bands in the Quad Cities, what do they play? Covers. It's the same 40 covers over and over again. But I have a theory behind that, and that's, people, when they go to a bar, they're not there to sit there and listen to a performer and, be tuned into the performer. They're there maybe to listen to the performer, but they're talking with their friends, they're having drinks, they're eating.
Trying to get a date.
They're on their phone. What's it called?
Avoid people.
And so the music is a background, essentially. And when it's a background, you want something that's familiar, because if you know the song, oh yeah, they're playing this song, you already know what's happening in that song. You know the lyrics, you know the meaning behind the song. So you feel comfortable. While listening to bands at venue spaces like this and listening to originals, people are not going to enjoy it, because in order to listen to someone's original that you don't know, you have to listen to it.
Yep.
You can't just be like, you're missing the whole song. So we're trying to create that culture of a real venue that is about the artist. And one of the biggest things that we're trying to fight and teach these young performers is, don't let the industry financially take advantage of you. Because when I hear from all these artists what they're getting paid by venues that I know are bringing in serious dollars from their events and can pay artists a better amount of money, and they choose not to, that pisses me off. So
I agree.
That's why we're doing this. We want it, and you did our first one. And what did I say to all of you? Next time you book a gig, do not let yourself sell for less than what you want to be paid. And if they say no, then they're not worthy of your art.
Yeah.
And and the mission is to make sure everyone starts following that, because if everyone's doing that, then these venues that their existence solely relies on having live entertainment, they're gonna have to bow down to it, and they can financially. So we've got that series. Then we have the adult version of it. We have the You're also performing in that. The library sessions, the last Sunday of every month, we do a 5 p.m. performance, 3 performers, half-hour sets. And the idea is,
Beautiful.
we're paying a minimum of $150 for a half-hour set. We provide all the equipment. And, I know these venues can do this. They can afford it, especially venues that get larger crowds than we do. Venues that sell alcohol and, then also sell food. And then they have an entrance fee on top of that. And then I hear these, I did an hour set for $50. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Or $100 for an hour set. That's it sounds like a lot. Oh, it's $100 for an hour, but it's how many hours went into preparation for that? The cost of your equipment, the travel, the setup, and the fact that this isn't a skill that anyone can just pick up and do. It's so with that, we're trying to fight that whole concept, and we're constantly booking, growing with our concert series this January to June with the concert series, concerts, and then outside things, other performances outside of that. We have over 30 performances booked.
Wow.
And so that's one of our big missions, is to change the culture of how artists are treated financially in the Quad Cities.
I feel like the coolest thing about what you're doing there is, from somebody who doesn't like long sets, I like to put the best stuff out. It's the short sets. Like, honestly, I love like a 30-minute hour show.
It's a marketing thing more so for me, because I look at it this way. If we have just one artist, they have their following. And maybe some new people that have come to our other concerts. And then this artist is losing out on the opportunity for new exposure. Now you bring in a second and third artist, and they have their followings, and some new people that come. Now they're exposed to the other 2 artists. And the whole idea behind this is to, one, give these artists a professional venue that they are the focus, and they are being paid what they're supposed to get paid as artists. Gives them an opportunity to meet a new crowd and have someone who's never heard of them fall in love with their music and discover something new.
I've been to some shows where, and I felt so bad because it was just the artist came in from like Chicago, Iowa City, and you see there's like nobody in the audience. It's just like 3 people. You know what I mean? And it's just like, where is the crowd? There's people, like, specifically like in the community here, kind of going off that post that you said, like, people say there's nothing to do here, but it's like there's so many things going on. You just have to really seek out
what you're looking for.
Yeah. So I just thought that was like so interesting and like kind of disheartening, because like coming from a musician, like all the time and preparation that goes into getting ready for a show, and you get there and there's nobody there. It's just kind of...
Well, and I know I'm gonna piss off some venue owners here, but I follow all of them on social media, and I pay attention. They barely market their events. I've yet to see a paid ad on like Facebook or Instagram that, sponsored ad, this performer coming in and playing. So, or on their pages, oftentimes, tonight, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, thanks for telling me today. I didn't know about it last week. And so there's a lack of investment there. And, it's a little bit different here than in New York. Like in New York, a lot of these venues, they market things, but then also the artist pay is based on how many tickets, like you're given a stack of tickets. Hey, here are tickets, and all your band members, and you have, specific markings on these tickets that say who sold them. And if you sell tickets to your own shows, one, you're promoting your own pay and your band and that venue, and vice versa. It has to be a collaborative thing. So, and also I see many artists that don't post anything about their concerts. There is a band we've booked a few times, and they never post about their concerts.
I'm guilty.
Uh,
I was like,
Duly noted. No, I'm just kidding. But it's
we're doers.
so in that aspect, there are multiple things to be blamed, to blame for the lack of success there. We as a venue have to invest everything we can within reason, financial reason, to promote these artists if we want to see success for the artist and also for our venue. But the artists also have to invest that aspect into their craft too, because they've got a following. They got to let their following know, hey, I'm going to be here playing. Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. Let's go check this person out. They're going to be there. I'm free that night. Let's go. Mm-hmm. So we are going to be rolling out a really cool series with a local singer-songwriting teacher, Ryan Bizzari. And
I've gotten a chance to meet him, actually.
He's an awesome dude. And so we're going to be rolling something out, and we're going to be talking about things like that, marketing, not just the writing of music aspect of it, but so there are so many things that we need to, I'm not going to say fix, because we just need to realign how things are managed in the music scene here in the Quad Cities. And I know I'm pissing a lot of people off right now because, I'm an outsider. I'm not from the Quad City. Here's this New Yorker telling us what we need to do. Get out of here. Leave the Quad Cities. I know I'm going to get some of that, but I'm okay with that. And because here's the thing, I know I make mistakes, and I've screwed up things in the past. I've screwed up businesses I've owned. And every time I've acknowledged if I was the factor or what I did, or I will think about what could I have done that would have made me not fail. So if anyone that's watching and listening to me, criticize, takes offense to it, well, then you are guaranteed to fail because you're not open to reassessing yourself as a venue or, a promoter or a musician to find, how can I be better at what I'm doing? How can I, service our community better? How can I perform better? How can I write better? We have to be open to criticism. And so by me saying this, I'm not criticizing them to put them down or make them fail. I want them to start looking at themselves too, to see what they can do better and how they can be more successful as a business and how they can offer more to the artists, because we are losing a lot of great musicians from the Quad Cities. They're leaving.
Yeah, when Cass. Cass I think was a very slept on.
Yeah, it's
like outside of a lot of people. She was very slept
on.
I was like, she's a great writer.
Her lyricism. Yeah,
her lyricism is crazy. Like I would go to her shows. I'm like, they don't feel that. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so, with all that being said, as a community, I think we need to look at ourselves and work together and take criticism as a form of, hey, I want to see the music community here succeed. And this is why I am going to take the chance on being the jerk that says what people don't want to hear.
I feel like I'm on like Monday Night Raw. Like, I'm going to tell you right now on the camera.
Yeah.
People need that criticism and that feedback. So, I am so grateful for having you guys here and talking to you guys, hearing about your story and about life. It's always nice to sit down and just talk about music because I love music. With that being said, this is CEI. Stay tuned for more podcasts and episodes. I just would like you guys to just say your final thoughts and introduce your names again if you guys haven't gotten it yet, because these are two amazing guys.
All right. Well, I'm Andre Kozowowski. I'm a classical pianist and owner of Sound Conservatory. If I have one thing to say is always be open to learning and open to criticism as a way to grow and connect with others better?
It's a dope name, man, actually. I just want to hear it. I'm Jera Williams, and I'm one of the producers I Do Waves. And I just want to say, for everybody who's out there making music, make your music and swim in your water. And don't be afraid to just go deeper and deeper. And make mistakes. Make the mistakes, make the music.